Hello everyone, I hope you're all fine. Welcome to Black White Commentary. Today we are going to delve deep into the conversation around black women in the workplace, especially in the United States of America. Realize that black women are a very big contributing factor when it comes to productivity in the United States and also the GDP in the United States due to their workforce or the labor they offer in corporate world in the United States of America. But despite all that, they still face a lot of challenges, especially the systemic challenges that has made them become stereotypes, especially due to their hair, due to their aggressiveness when it comes to fighting for their rights at workplaces. Therefore, I believe that having this conversation it will be very important to ensure that we understand how black women in the United States of America face these systemic challenges when it comes to workplaces. Therefore, stay tuned as we delve deep and also listen to these videos that will be very insightful to all of us. Ensure that you enjoy the videos. Thank you.
So why'd you miss the 5:10 meeting yesterday?
Cause I was on 5.
Yeah, but it was a quick 10-minute meeting with a really important client, and you just didn't show up.
Yeah, because I work 9 to 5.
I understand that, but it was specially requested. You could have stayed an extra 10 to 15 minutes. Is it really that big of a deal?
Yeah, because I have things outside of work. They happen right after work, so there's really nothing I can do.
You know, our team prides itself on going above and beyond for our clients. A quick 15-minute meeting wouldn't kill you, honestly.
I had other obligations. You should know better than to schedule calls after 5.
Your other obligations won't matter if you don't show up to this job and do it properly. Is that understood? If you're assigned a meeting a little after 5 p.m., it shouldn't be that difficult. And you shouldn't be that difficult as a team member.
And like I said, you should know better than to schedule calls after work hours if those were the hours you set.
Stupida.
Did you just call me stupid?
No, of course not.
Yeah, you did. And just so you know, I've been recording this entire conversation.
Wait, why would you be recording?
Because this isn't the first time something like this has happened.
With what? There's literally no note taker in this meeting.
My phone. I was already recording and had Sprout open to auto apply to other recommended jobs at the same time. It caught everything you just said. Bad timing for you, I guess.
Okay, first of all, it's rude to be on your phone during a meeting. And second, you can't just avoid this conversation by applying to other jobs.
I'm not avoiding it at all. I'm sure these other companies have more professionalism than you do here. Since my Sprout profile is already tailored to them, what do you want to say about the language you just used?
Look, I was just talking about the situation, right? I didn't think you understood Spanish.
It doesn't really matter. The word stupid sounds pretty similar in every language.
Look, I'm just really frustrated, all right? This client is extremely difficult, and this has been really hard on me. I'm sure you can understand and empathize with that.
Not really.
Let me just buy you a coffee, all right?
I'm gonna share this with HR. You can save the speech for them.
The amount of special treatment that black women get in the workplace blows my mind. They can be dumber than a box of rocks. They're given special leeway. They don't abide by the dress code. They're late all the time. And there's always an excuse. And if you're a manager and you hold them to this excuse, you're the racist because their kid or something happened in their family. And we have to stretch the rules for them. We have to overlook it. We can't say anything. Managers are afraid to approach them and confront them about the dress code, confront them about their hair, confront them about tardiness, because they'll have a video made. Somebody will say you're being racist. And so managers all over the world, owners, when you hire black women, be prepared what comes along with that. Be prepared for your other workers to feel highly uncomfortable when they're constantly seeing somebody not abide by the rules and not a damn thing is done about it. Not a damn thing. And most businesses will stand by and will put up with mediocre performances because they want to keep their doors open and they don't want a TikTok video made about how racist they are.
You got to ask the question, is there some validity to it? Now, you're going to have black women that say that white women and white people automatically have the leg up on them because they can get away with murder and they can do whatever it is that they want. And I just seen a video probably 2 or 3 days ago. I did a reaction to it, and it was a lot of motion on it. And that's why I'm addressing this issue again, because a girl said that she worked in HR and that black women, was largely getting laid off and they didn't have the leg up that they were supposed to have because they are more educated, but, they slip up here and there and they have a bad hair day, so they wear a bonnet at work and, they are 15 minutes late on a regular basis, but they should be able to be 15 minutes late on a regular basis. So the synopsis is accurate. My analysis of this whole situation is valid because I just reviewed a video of a woman that was in HR that said and confirmed the same thing, but she was complaining, saying that they needed this and this was something that was necessary for black women in order for them to thrive in corporate America. So the question that we have to ask ourselves is there black privilege, especially when it comes to black women in corporate America? Again, let me ask the question. Think about it before you start to comment because I want to hear what y'all got to say. Is there black privilege when it comes to black women existing in corporate America? I believe that it is. And I also believe that even without diversity, equity, and inclusion, even without affirmative action.
Guys, I'm so traumatized. Like, being a black woman in a corporate space absolutely traumatized me. Like, I'm actually traumatized. Like, I can't. Like, I just can't do it anymore. Already, everyone admits to having to play the game while at work, yeah. But as a black woman, you're playing several games at the same time, and it's so frustrating. As a black woman with anxiety, the amount of pressure you are under to mask, and I mask, but it doesn't matter because when someone has a certain perception of you, your behavior towards them will not change that. Can you imagine, yeah? Can you imagine already having to tone police, right? You tone police, then you're masking your anxiety, right? You're tone policing, masking your anxiety. I wake up sometimes, my nervous system is a flipping mess. I wake up sometimes, I'm on high alert. I'm on fight or flight. Like, my adrenaline levels are insane. Like, I wake up sometimes and it's just really hard to function. And I am quite high functioning with my anxiety, right? But can you imagine having to do all that and mask and still be being told, yeah, that, your nervousness comes across a certain way to people? Are you joking? Black women actually do not have the luxury of having any other emotion that isn't positive being perceived as anything but aggressive or negative or da-da-da-da. Do you know how insane that is to have to now take into account how people perceive your anxiety and regulate it at the same time and play the game in a workplace? You are not responsible for other people's perceptions of you, especially in the workplace, especially being a black woman in the workplace. People already have a perception of you, and you're not responsible for that. But it is honestly traumatizing, and I'm holding a deep anger being confronted with the reality that this is just what it is. This is what it is as a black woman working in a corporate space. This is just what you will go through, and this is making me want to opt out so bad. Like, I'm not on board. I say this because I hear and I see so many stories that mirror my own. Like, people saying the same things that I've been told. When people say to you, "Oh, we can't really read you," like it's so frustrating to me because what are you trying to read? What are you trying to read? I've said what I mean and I mean what I say. Oh, by your face sometimes, we don't know if you're on board. We don't know if you've pissed you off. Mind you, you've sent, oh my God, amazing idea, and 3 exclamation marks in the Slack channel. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Because people have their perceptions of you, irrespective of what you show them. They're just looking for anything to match up to what they really think about you. There's just a deep, deep sadness in me. There's a deep sadness in me, and I feel sad and I feel sorry. For the girlies who also, like me, may have anxiety, who may have mental health problems, who may have ADHD, who may be autistic, neurodivergent. I feel really sad for us. Not even in a pity way, but there's just something in me. I'm mourning something, and it's just I think it might be the hope, and maybe it's naivety of me, the hope that people would just seek to understand, you, and you don't have to play these games, and who you are is enough in the workplace. But there's just politics around your whole existence, and that for me just feels so traumatizing, and I just don't really want to participate in it. I don't want to participate in it. Like, it's 8 hours every day for 5 times a week. I'm really sad about it. I'm sad for us as black women that in the workplace, it's just part and parcel of being in a capitalist society. We just have to perform.
If you're young and you're pretty, you do not want to make this mistake at work.
So I think the whole pretty privilege in the workplace discussion is a little bit different when it comes to Black women. This creator makes some really interesting points about how you should dress and present yourself in the workplace as a woman, especially if you're in a male-dominated field. I've taken a much different approach than she suggests, and I think it's part of the reason why I've been promoted earlier than everyone I've started with, regardless of race. She basically says not to put too much effort into your appearance, don't think too much about your clothing, don't wear too much makeup, etc. I just don't think that's a luxury provided to Black women when you think about it from the gaze of another race. Like, when you think about the white girl messy bun, there really is no Black equivalent to it. So really early in my career, even though I work in tech where there's no defined dress code, I always made sure to come to the office put together and elevated. The goal of this really was just to look much older than I am. But what I think it's led to is this appearance of competence that complements my intellect, not overpowers it, because we don't start from the same starting point of perceived beauty from non-Black people that non-Black women do. I want to be very clear. I am not saying that Black women are not as beautiful as other races of women. I'm talking about societal beauty standards. So in this creator that I'm stitching's video, she basically says that if you do too much at work, you wear too much makeup, your clothes are too nice, people are going to focus on that beauty instead of your intellect. But what I think that additional elevation does for Black women is actually bring us to the same level of perceived attractiveness as women of other races. So we're moving from being either invisible or looked down upon to being equal as a woman of another race who has not done too much. And then from a senior leader perspective, what I think this creates the appearance of is okay, this girl's really gotten with the program. I can really pour into her and invest in her as a leader and mentor. I'm going to feel better about myself because I'm mentoring a young Black woman, and she is going to do better and contribute to the company because I've seen by her appearance that she's not going to be out here looking like other Black women do. So I definitely don't think you should do anything to stand out from a fashion or beauty perspective, don't wear a bunch of multicolored makeup or don't wear clothes that are really loud. But I do think that elevating yourself one level up from what other people wear will always help you, especially if you're a Black woman. So things like, yes, wearing makeup and maybe even a lot of makeup, but not loud makeup, makeup that enhances your features, wearing jewelry that is elevated, wearing nice, simple dresses, even if everyone else is wearing jeans. Just before I end this video, I want to let you know that this is completely a theory about how I think I'm perceived in the workplace. I have received some comments about my appearance in the workplace, almost always positive, but no senior person has told me that they're pouring into me because I fit in. This is just what I think about my appearance and how it's positively affected me in the workplace.
I don't care if this offends people, it needs to be said. The pressure given to Black women to perform in the workplace is crazy. I've observed over the past year for the company that I work for in my day job, I can't have a single thing out of place. Not a single thing. I am not allowed to be human at all. In the slightest. Everything has to be 100% perfect. And then I'm deemed somewhat acceptable. But for all the other people, the amount of times I'm covering for people or I witness other people who are not Black, who are just allowed to skate by and do whatever. I have to be 100% perfect. Otherwise, if I don't, eye rolls ensue. The rhetoric begins of, oh, well, she's being difficult or whatever it is. People are clearly typing behind my back. And just it's fascinating because I don't think they'll ever see it. They will never see their prejudices ever. And they'll continue to think that they're in the right for it. Full disclaimer, I am one of 2 black people in the whole company. Another example is the person who's now the managing director of the company would sit on calls with me and talk about how much he couldn't wait until I broke. And he and like the engineering manager would sit on a call and like just literally just laugh at me. That's just examples from 2 other people. I know that this is such a common and shared experience amongst black women in predominantly white spaces, but I'd love to just hear from people, like, how do you get through it? Because I'm not at my breaking point because I got 2 months left. I don't care, fuck those people. But it's just like fascinating. If you have any tips, please let me know. Shared experiences, all of that stuff, just let me know.
If you are a black woman who is pretty and quiet, how is the work environment treating you? Probably awful, right? And one of the main justifications for why that is the peg to threat theory. And also they have this idea that we are subconsciously supposed to be performing for the validation of our other counterparts. You see, when you are quiet, there is a level of mystery that is associated with that. When you are loud, you are considered obnoxious. When you are somebody that is comfortable being reserved in your nature, you are going to make a lot of people in the office upset because they associate your quietness with, you being pompous and you being stoush. But also, it's a demonstration of boundaries to many. And many people dislike that. If you are black and you're good at your job, they are not going to like that because they see you as a threat. If you are pretty, there is a level of, mating, rivalry, evolutionary biology that takes place within them. And also they do not believe that black people should be that pretty. So when they see a pretty black person, it's like, what the heck? And 3, if you're quiet, they associate that with you being stuck up and rude, which I think is insane, provided that, I'm just minding my business. And many people don't like when you mind your business because you're not telling your business as a part of minding your business. You know what I mean? So yeah, like it's something you're gonna have to deal with. It's okay.
So the other day I was asking one of my girlfriends, she's black, how she was able to last in corporate America as a black woman for so many years, and she's so successful, because I just couldn't do it. I had to walk away, I had to leave. It was too much for me. And she was like, oh, easy. She said, I make sure that I'm not doing more than the white women in my office. And I was like, mind blown. No, she said that she realized that when, as a black woman, you outwork and outperform the other white women in the office, or white people in general, that you have an instant target on your back. So she was like, what I do now is, she's like, I look around to see how much everyone else is doing, and I make sure I stay just right there on that level and I don't go past that. She's like, I close a few deals, I get some stuff done, and then that's it. And it hit me that is exactly what I was doing wrong in all of the jobs that I've had, all the agencies I worked for. I'm neurodivergent, and so I'm very literal. And so when I'm hired to do something, I'm just like, I gotta do the best job that I can do. And I have always outperformed everyone in my office, and I thought that was a good thing. I was out here thinking this was a good thing, and it turns out it's not a good thing. A lot of white people do not like when you outperform them, even if they hired you. And that's the thing that was hard for me, because I had a boss who quite literally was sabotaging everything I was doing, and it was so confusing to me, because I'm like, she hired me. She hired me as an expert and as a strategist for this role, and I was doing everything that I was supposed to do. But no, you can't. That's how you last in corporate America as a black woman. You have to do less than the white women around you, or else you have a target on your back. And it's frustrating to realize that, but you really do have to play the game if you want to last. I couldn't do it. I just left. I work for myself now.
Let me just say this. If you are a black woman who takes care of herself, who's intelligent and does her job very well, and you look good doing it, just know that you are going to be a micromanager magnet. Okay. Also, I can even go as far as saying, if you are a dark-skinned black woman and you have all those criteria, you are going to be a magnet for bullying and micromanagers. And that's all I got.
From the videos, you realize that Black women have been going through a lot of struggles, stereotypes, fighting for their rights, and also as a result, this has influenced a lot of things in in the United States system around the workplace in the corporate world. Another thing you realize that the black women is that the black American women at work navigate a system that hasn't always been designed for them. Yet they continue to lead, innovate, and transform the workplaces. Their experience isn't just about struggle, it's about influence, resistance, and redefining the success. They have always been fighting for these rights for a long period of time. Realize that from, from the struggles, you realize that during slavery shaped how women worked in the United States. Jim Crow laws limited women to just work in agricultural sector and also domestic work. Black women were excluded from labor protections that benefited white workers, and therefore this became a systemic challenge up to date because some feel that some corporate work is not for them, but still they have tried their best to ensure that they fit in these positions. But still, even working in this corporate world, you realize that women still undergo a lot of struggles and a lot of challenges. One being pay gaps, especially pay gaps. How black women and other women are being paid has a lot of gaps, especially white women being paid high as compared to the black women. This is also the double gap, which means that there is aspect of race and also the aspect of gender. Being a black woman in the United States of America, the pay rise is very low. When you be, also the aspect of race, being black and also being the aspect of gender, being a black woman is one on its own, and also being a woman on its own is also a challenge on its own. Therefore, being a black woman, there is an aspect of pay gap between the black woman and white women. Black women have always had high labor force participation compared to other groups of women. Therefore, having high labor force means that there is high productivity in the workplace or in the corporate world, but still they are not being recognized a lot. There is that challenge of high labor, but meaning that the GDP of the United States will keep on rising every now and then as a result of black women contributing in the labor force. Black women face another challenge around work workplace. There's the workplace bias and discrimination. Workplace bias and discrimination. There is the aspect of stereotype. Black women have been fighting for their rights. They are being stereotyped as very aggressive. But what's the problem of being aggressive when you are fighting for your rights? There is no problem because everyone needs to speak up for their rights. Because when you continue to keep quiet, it means that you'll continue to be oppressed. Therefore, they are being stereotyped as being aggressive. But it's a positive. Being aggressive is positive when you fight for your rights. Therefore, black women have been fighting for their rights by being aggressive at workplaces. Also, they're being overlooked for high positions and promotion. Black women, it's rare for you to find black women being promoted at high position at workplaces. Therefore, being a black woman, it becomes difficult in the United States to be promoted in such high positions. There's the aspect of their rights are being optional. It's not being a priority. Their rights are very optional in these workplaces. Therefore, this is also a struggle on of its own. The black community has been fighting for the rights of people in the United States of America. They came up with the civil rights movement. But it's very ironical that these black women are still facing the challenge of fighting for their rights in these workplaces. Therefore, the system has made black women to be struggling every now and then, even in the workplaces. Black women at workplaces are also facing the challenges when it comes to their appearance, hair, the dressing code, because in these workplaces, how a black woman dresses, she will be judged. How their hair looks, afro, whether the locks, they are being judged according to their hair. Also, the appearance, being a black woman, you face racism in these workplaces. Therefore, it becomes a very big challenge. Why should we make black women in the United States of America have difficulties when working? We need to change this system so that it can accommodate everyone, whether white, whether black, whether African American, whether Caribbean American, whether Latin America. Therefore, we need to change this system to ensure that it works for the people, because we are all humans and we are contributing factor to the GDP of the United States of America. Therefore, black women need to feel at home when in the United States of America. Therefore, I believe that these videos have been helpful, and also the content has been resonating to women. So, click the like button, share button, and also the notification button. Stay tuned for more content. Thank you.